So in this clip, I want to talk about the conspiracy charge. The government has charged these 7 defendants with entering into a conspiratorial agreement to impede or interfere with federal officers in the commission of their duties. And so the government has the burden of proving that these defendants entered into a conspiratorial agreement to do that. So let's look at some of the evidence that's been presented so far in that regard. It looks to me like, and I've talked about this in some of the other things I've written about this case, and especially when you look at the definition of a conspiracy, really all a conspiracy is an agreement. There can be fully lawful conspiracies to do all kinds of things, from play a prank to have a surprise birthday party. But in order for a conspiracy to be illegal, it has to have an unlawful purpose. Now, I think it's fair to say, based on the evidence that's come in so far, that there was a conspiracy, there was an agreement, there was a meeting of the minds between a number of different people, basically, to engage in a protest rally to support the Hammonds. And there was also an agreement between some people to occupy the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge. Now, whether or not there was a conspiracy to impede federal officers comes down to intent. Conspiracy is all about intent. It's all about the purpose of the conspiracy. It's all about the state of mind of the alleged conspirators. Now, from what I've seen so far, and I think this has kind of been demonstrated in the in the government's evidence too, there are a whole bunch of different people there. I don't think it looks like they were all on the same sheet of music. It looks like Ammon Bundy and Ryan Bundy and probably Lavoy Finicum and Shauna Cox and some other people had some objectives. Then there were a whole bunch of militia people and other people that came there. They had their own agendas. And I'm not sure to what extent those agendas overlapped. And the government has the burden of proving that they did overlap and that it was the intent of these particular defendants to impede federal officers through the use of force, intimidation, or threats. And most of these witnesses have already testified that they're not aware of any actual threats by these defendants or anyone else. They haven't been able to point to any actual threats. And they haven't been able to bring forward so far any evidence of any actual force of any kind that would have been used to impede. So it comes down to a matter of intimidation. Did these defendants intend to impede or, intimidate these federal officers with the purpose of impeding or interfering with their duties? And that brings us to another question that I'll hit in the next clip, which is, what was the primary purpose or intent of these defendants? Was it to impede the federal officers, or was it something else entirely? And we'll talk about that in the next clip.